And I'm just going to read a little bio, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shelby. So Dr. Howard Shelby first grew up in Silver Hill, a small black community carved out around wealthy neighborhood of Buena Vista, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Howard served in the Air Force for 26 years and became an award-winning Air Force recruiter, something that very few African Americans achieved during that time. He dreamed of becoming a jazz trumpeter and played with the band while stationed at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, during his basic training. He was deployed to Newfoundland, Thule, Greenland, Goose Bay, Labrador, Thailand, and numerous bases in the United States with his wife, Angela, and 4 children. He grew to become a successful real estate broker and teacher of real estate to others. He is now an accomplished writer. He has an autobiography of Dr. Howard Shelby. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Howard Shelby.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here today. With me, I have my executive assistant, Mr. Frederick Williams. He wrote my autobiography. And I have my loan officer, Miss Rita Eubanks. I received the topic yesterday, and it was custom made for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll start out. I originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. My mother had me when she was 15 years old. So everything went fine till one night she had company coming over, and I was calling her mother, and she said, "Look, I don't want you to call me mother. From now on, just call me by my first name, because I don't want nobody to know that I have a child." So, you know, that really hurt me. And that was, to get over that obstacle, I went to my grandmother, and she told me that she would be my mother from here on. So up until the next 70-some years, I called my real mother Sis. Everything went fine. She worked, my mother, real mother, worked and made $3 a week. 1 week she would pay, buy food, and then once a month she paid $3 to stay in the room that we shared with my grandmother. When time for me to go to school, she let my hair grow real long, and they wouldn't let you go to school with long hair. So I missed the first year of school. The second year I missed because my birthday my birthday is October the 15th, and you can't go to school unless your birthday is by the 1st of October, so I missed a whole year there. So when I finally went to school, I was already 2 years behind. I went to first grade. I went okay the first semester. A 65-cent tuition we had to pay. The second semester, my mother couldn't pay the 65 cents, so I had to sit in a room facing the wall for a whole semester because of 65 cents, and I got retained. Okay? That really hurt me, but during that time, I told myself, and I'm sure I was talking to God, I said, if I'm ever in a position to help somebody, I won't let them go through what I went through. So consequently, now I have proven that by giving scholarships to kids going to college. And we expanded that now to include trade schools, because I could see coming out to your facility here, it's a need for people with trades. And that's what we're going to be doing that too. I've been funding my nonprofit organization out of my pocket, but I did just complete my autobiography. So all the proceeds from the sale of my book is going to the foundation to help these kids go to school. One thing I remembered about San Antonio, I'm a musician by profession, and I came in the military to play in the band. Well, the first encounter I had here in San Antonio was I played with musicians who had played with Count Basie, Lionel Hampton, Duke Ellington. The top musicians in the nation was in the band over at Lackland. I played with them. However, when they would take dates to play downtown here in San Antonio, all the blacks had to stay on the base. We couldn't go with the band. If we played in Dallas, no air conditioning on the bus then, so we would go to stop in Waco. All the whites get off the bus, go in and eat. They bring us a little bag, lunches back to the bus. Bus drive up the highway. The field, they give you toilet paper, so you can do your business over here in the field. So being treated like that, my way I overcome that obstacle is just got out of the band. I wanted to do something else, so I really wanted to be an aircraft mechanic. But during that time, if you was black, the only thing you could do was security police, roads and ground, supply, and that was just about it for blacks. Regardless how smart you were, what you made on the examination, it wasn't open for you. So I got into supply, and I said I'm gonna be the best supply person in the world. So I studied and I did okay in supply. But in 1953, I got orders. I got married in 1952, and I didn't have a car, so I needed to, how I overcome that without a car, I rode with other people. So I finally, the Korean War was going on, so instead of, I was going to get extended anyway, so to re-enlist for 6 years, you get $360. So I said, well, I'm going to take this $360 and buy me an automobile. So I had a part-time job at this service center. And at that service center, I washed cars, greased cars, changed tires, but I couldn't work on the front. They wouldn't let me work on the front. So after I said, well, I re-enlisted, I bought a 98 Oldsmobile. I was very, very happy. I drove into the service station with this Oldsmobile, and I was just so happy. The guy, the manager was there, and I drove in, he said, whose car is that? I said, it's mine, I just re-enlisted, I bought it. He said, I don't need you no more. So I got fired. That's the first time I got fired. So I said, well, I need to get me another job because, you know, my wife is pregnant and I need to make this car payment. So I found another job at a service station. This man made me night manager. So that's another obstacle I was able to overcome, just not giving up. So I worked there for a while. Then I had one night, these Sicilian, two of them came in, and luxury automobiles, silk suits, the whole works, windshield full of tickets. I said, sir, you got some tickets? He said, throw them away, don't worry about it. So I said, okay, these guys must be somebody to throw tickets away. So we got to talking. They said, you'd be good in real estate. I said, yeah, but I just re-enlisted for 6 years. He said, don't worry about it. My daddy can get you out of the military. That's no big deal. So I thought about it, and I went home. He said, but you talk to your wife, and if she'd go along with it, we'll take care of you. So I talked to my father-in-law. He said, well, no. He said, I recommend you go ahead and stay in the military because at least in the military, you know that you have a career. But he said, real estate is too unpredictable. So I didn't go into real estate, but I always remembered it. But particularly in the military, it being black and trying to find a place to live. Nobody wants to rent to you, or they don't want to sell to you. So I said, well, that's another obstacle I need to overcome. So first time I ever had a house, they had I was working selling memberships to, I think it's some society, but I did good. And the commander told me that he thought I'd be a good recruiter. Well, at that time, no blacks had ever been in the Air Force recruited. So he sent me to Richmond, Virginia, and I passed the test. And I went down to Lackland, came to down here, and I went to the recruiting school. And I came out with high honors. And I went back to Wichita. They assigned me to Salina, Kansas. So I went to Salina, and the guy, the recruiter on duty, said, hey, we don't have any color here. What you doing here? I said, that's what my order said. He said, oh, let me call Kansas City. It's been a mistake. So he called Kansas City, and they told me, they said, well, we didn't know you was colored. So, but you can come to Kansas City. We'll find a place for you. So I said, okay, I just want to get my family settled. So I went to Kansas City, and the guy said, well, we didn't know you was coming. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you all the colors. I said, okay. So I had a lot of people getting out of the military, coming back. They had been in the Korean War. So I said, I need to make some money on this situation. So when the DD-214, that's the discharge papers, when I get them in, I would call the individual and said, hey, welcome back to Kansas City. I said, what are you doing tonight? Yeah, normally said, well, nothing, I just got in town. I don't know anybody. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take care of you. I said, what kind of car do you like? I said, oh man, I like that 57 Chevrolet, two-door. I said, what color? He said, black. Well, what I had done, I had gone out to about 6 automobile dealers, and I told them that I was in a position to promote their automobiles, and all I needed is $100 for each car I sold. So that's fine, no problem. So I would, when he tell me he liked a 57 Chevy, I go out and pick up a 57 Chevy. I go by and pick him up. I had a nightclub that I knew everybody there, and I tell the young women, I said, hey, I said, I got this guy coming back from Korea, and I want you to treat him like a king. They said, okay, no problem. I take him over there, and hey, he's enjoying himself. About 11 o'clock at night, I said, hey, Fred, I said, I got to go to work tomorrow. I said, why don't you just drop me off and keep the car? He said, okay, you gonna let me keep these wheels? I said, yeah, go ahead, man, enjoy yourself. All day long, he'd ride around Kansas City showing off in his new 57 Chevy two-door. About 5 o'clock, he picked me up. I said, hey, you like this car? He said, oh, man, yeah, I like it. I said, let's just hypothetically, if I could get you this car and get you your re-enlistment bonus and get your basic choice, would you re-enlist? He said, what I sign? So my first month there, I made 306% of my quota. Then they said, hey, wait a minute, we can't do it this way. You can't have all the colors, so we're gonna give you a zone. So it's okay. I took the zone, and but I still was the #1 recruiter, and that was 1957. 1958, I was top recruiter in the entire group. So the commander at Lyra Air Force Base took a government airplane, flew his staff down to honor me. Went across the street in Kansas City, a little restaurant, where they were going to have the activity. So they got in there, the guy on the door said, hey, said, you guys can come in, but that colored boy can't come in here. So the guy told me, I'm the honoree. He said, Howard, going back across the street. We'll be back. So that hurt. So that's 1958. However, 1985, this same colonel told me to go back across the street. He came in my office and asked me for a job. So God is good, okay? But that hurt. It never left me. I'm the honoree, and they treat me that way. But I didn't let it stop me. One thing that really helped, I had the most integrated real estate company probably in America. In 1980, I had 100 agents, 3 offices. I had about 50 white agents, about 25 Mexican-American agents, about 25 black agents. And we took the whole city, you know. And that had never have happened before. Nobody could understand it. People are under the impression that if you're black, you can only sell black. If you're white, you can only sell white. That's not the way it works. People will go with who can take the best, who can take care of them. And that's where. And what I did at the same time, at that particular time, I also had a car dealership. I had a car dealership up in New Braunfels, and I sold Mercedes. And all my agents drove Mercedes. Even the ones who couldn't afford a Pinto would still drive Mercedes, okay? No problem. And they dressed. They dressed for success. We had a dress code, the whole works. They were dressed so well that they didn't need name tags, because when they go out and say they are realtors, they know that from our company the way they dress. So, and everybody got along fine. But we took the city. However, in 1988, about 7 o'clock one morning, I got a call from a guy. He said, Howard, are you looking at TV? I said, no. He said, look at channel 13. So I cut the TV on. I saw my office on Military Drive going up in smoke. He said, hey, he said, we burned that one this morning. He said, the only reason we didn't burn the one in University City, we didn't want to burn you up this time. But the next time, whether you're in there or not, we're going to burn that one down too. So I called the police department and told them I'd like to get permit to carry a pistol. They said, no, you can't carry a pistol in San Antonio. All you can carry is a shotgun. I said, man, I don't need no shotgun. No. I said, what do you suggest? He said, well, you need to get a security firm. So I had 3 officers, but I had 2 left then. So I had 24-hour, round-the-clock security protected my house and my 2 offices, which is very expensive. And during that time, things was going south, real estate, even so bad, the banks was going bankrupt. The banks went bankrupt so often they didn't put up a permanent sign. They just put up a cloth sign. That's how bad it was during that time. So I held on until 1889, okay, and I said I'm not going crazy trying to hold on to this stuff, so I declared bankruptcy, went out, and decided to try to do something else. And I'd been in the car business, so I went down to Mercedes-Benz. I said, I know they'd give me a job. The guy said, oh no, I'll give you a job in maintenance. You're not gonna work this floor. So I said, okay, I'm not going in maintenance. So then I called the Lexus dealership. I had a friend there. I thought I had a friend. He said, oh, I got my quota, but I'm gonna send you to Jaguar. So I went to Jaguar, and this guy looked at me like I was crazy. He said, no, we don't need no help. So then since I had been in recruiting, I went back into personnel recruiting, and I said, well, I'll do this. I asked this guy, I said, how much do you pay me? He said, oh, you're gonna make a lot of money. You probably make $40,000 a year. So I worked there for a year. The most I ever made was $400 a week. I didn't make any money, so. But after a year, I took over the company, and I still have the company. But what I'm saying is, you can't give up if you run into a situation. You just keep going, and you overcome. As I said, I declared I have no problem with being declaring bankruptcy. That's the way of doing business. Ask President Trump. So, but my purpose today, and I was supposed to tell you how to overcome obstacles, and what to do in the future. My deal is my foundation. I told you I got retained in the first grade for the lack of money, and now I'm taking my money and giving to these kids to put them through college so they don't have to go through what I went through. And yes. Okay. So, anybody have any questions?
We're going to open up to some questions for Dr. Shelf, but right before that, I'd like to give a round of applause